it's finally here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Good morning. I'm Chamberlain Usod. Welcome to the Christmas edition of Sunrise Daily.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Clearly, as you can see, everything is different. We're standing and isn't it lovely here?
It's a different day, so everything is always different on a regular basis. So you should expect different things every day,
yes,
as much as you can. It helps you. It helps you mentally, psychologically. It just helps you keep going. That's how you stay fresh, stay alive, stay afloat.
Well, unfortunately,
about so many things.
Yeah, one of those things that is also different this year is that you're supposed to maintain social distancing. You know, most people who normally would go to their families, go to their homes, go to their relatives. You know, even Barack Obama had to put up a tweet that said, look, for those of us who will gather with people we know both physically and virtually.
Well, the thing is, I don't know how many people in the rural communities here will listen to Barack Obama.
Well, yes, but for those who know, I mean, they will know that. And that is the reality indeed. But to imagine that all of yesterday, we had that horrendous traffic. Despite all of that, I don't even know where to begin.
You know, but the thing is, lots of people hit the road or expect to hit the road on days like this and think or assume that, okay, there will be no traffic.
Oh.
You remember those days, I mean, when you hope to travel and lately you think, what if I do it before that festive season? I think there'll be lots of people on the road, and then you think, no, maybe I should wait on that day, not knowing there's so many other people who are thinking like
you.
So on that day, everybody meets on the road, and you think, oh boy, even on this day, you know, that's how it happens.
And you know, talking about, you know, what you encounter on the roads and all, you know, the Christmas decorations are a natural, you know, part of what we do, what we find on the streets everywhere. You go to certain cities, certain, you know, junctions in your city, wherever you are right now. Those decorations are there. And here it's a little different this year.
And the thing about that is, you know, yes, COVID, lots of people trying to adhere to those protocols that may have been given in different states, depending on how, you know, the states are trying to enforce all of those measures. And so it was a little cautious. People didn't know what to expect. So it was a little cautious. But, you know, the thing now is that, yes, it eventually came up, those decorations. And it turns out that even at that time or these times, you still see lots of people who are traveling, who are hitting the road, who you don't see them observe all those protocols that have been put in. And you just wonder, oh dear. Who knows? Who knows?
It's a really tough call, sincerely. I mean, for instance, in the airlines, there is no such thing as much as social distancing when you're in the aircraft. And the same thing applies in most of the vehicles you have to board when you're going anywhere. Unfortunately, most of them are not air conditioned, so the windows are open and everything. So even if you're not observing, you can't observe enough social distance on the in the vehicle. Are you wearing the face masks? Do you even have hand sanitizer around you? Are you even conscious of it? You know, so that's just it's a tough one.
Speaking about those decorations, yes, they eventually came through, and those are some of the highlights, really. What helps your mindset, it helps you see, oh, wow, you look forward to something, other than the chaotic, the madness that goes on in different parts. Look, as much as people can, it's advisable, if you can isolate yourself for a moment in time, as long as you can. Just be in that mood, be in that zone. It helps you. So
it's a tough call, sincerely. It's a tough call. I mean, when people are not used to doing things in a particular way, and then they're now conscripted.
Nothing comes easy these days. So
and from what we have heard, Chamberlain, you know, we're in this for the long haul. We're here. So imagine what we're going to have to be doing 10, 15, 20, 50 years from now.
The good news is we've already been doing this. We've been in this
We've been keeping social distancing?
Well, for how long now? It's been over 6, 7, 8 months. So people are doing things already, and people have survived, they're succeeding, and they will continue. It's just their mindset. And so you can. If people have done it, still doing it, who says we can't conclude it? We can finish it up. Well, let's take a look at some of these highlights. I mean, look at these decorations. Look at how they're going. In spite of all what's going on, it tells you that if some people can, we think you can.
A number of things have become synonymous with Christmas, and one of them is the various Christmas decorations. In recent years, strategic places in Lagos showcase beautifully and creatively conceived decorations as millions of tiny light bulbs combine to improve the mood for the festivities. This year, no thanks to COVID-19 pandemic, the merriment around the celebration have been toned down, so much so that a good number of regular decoration spots have lost their mojos. Chief of them is the usual magnum opus at the Ajosin Adeogun roundabout on Victoria Island. The entire road that usually transforms into a Christmas park, sort of, with beautiful decorations and Christmas memorabilia, now stands as it would on another regular day and season.
Ajosin Adeogun roundabout is a place where seasons like this, you have decoration everywhere. You see the mood that really the year is coming to an end, and happiness everywhere, joy everywhere. But since COVID-19 came, that is why this place is like this. Formerly, before, you see this place decorated and you see people blowing knockouts, banger, you see happiness everywhere. But now, because of COVID-19, everything has changed. It's not as before again.
Sources from the corporate entity that has been responsible for the decorations over the years confirm that the decision to not decorate is made inevitable by the pandemic and an attempt to not encourage large gatherings of people. Just around the corner, however, a shipload of Santa Claus berths in an attempt to save Christmas. While decorations are definitely a bit far in between this year, some other notable places retain their bright looks, including the Falomo roundabout in Ikoyi and the Mobolaji Bank Anthony stretch in Ikeja.
Welcome back. So there you go. Things really going on in some other areas. And so, yeah, while you do all you can, you just have to, as much as possible. I did tell a couple of people some time ago, some days ago as well, that look, yes, this is the festive season. This is Christmas Day, and that's why we're doing all we can. But, you know, you have to be alive because there are several other Christmases that you have to be aware of so you don't miss out. So just take it easy. Just take it all in, and then you will proceed. So today we're asking, look, in light of all of this, I mean, yes, you started out highlighting the challenges, how people need to adapt to change, which is not easy anyway. Tell us, describe in one word if you can. Now, you'll get you thinking. What does Christmas mean to you? And who knows? I wonder how people will go about this one, because you really need to think deep. It's one word. Tweet at us, because we'll look at those tweets as we progress. What does it mean to you after all these years?
Well,
have you ever thought about that anyway?
Well, two words come to mind for me. But
oh, two? That's more than one.
No, I said one word, conclusive, another word, conclusive, so I don't have to put the two together. But maybe when we speak with our guests now, maybe we'll be able to get to that one.
Yeah, so go ahead.
He might give you some clues.
So you could tweet at us, just mention that. What does it really mean? Just think deep. Look, in spite of all that's going on, you may want to take a step back. What does it actually mean to me?
Whether we like it or not, whether you see it that way or not, Christmas has some significance, and we'll get into that in a bit. But
yeah,
for now, where you are, what you're doing right now, forget about all of the, I think, you know, the Chamberlain is making sense in that one, in asking, what does Christmas mean to you? Say it now. We'll have a clue soon, but what does Christmas mean to you now?
Yep.
Irrespective of whatever, historically or futuristically, what does it mean to you?
So don't worry, nobody's judging anybody. It's a free day.
It's not an examination.
Ignore all the noise around you. It's your day. You have a right to enjoy it. Yeah. So it's Christmas Day, and today we're talking about the essence of Christmas. Maybe you could get an expo.
Exactly what I mean.
So we've got a venerable of the Anglican Church at DME Agbelusi. Thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning, sir. Good to see you. So, well, what a day it's been. How are you looking at all that is going on, taking it all in, and talking about Christmas? Is there any challenge to still put up that message, even in consideration of the times that we're in now?
Thank you very much, Chamberlain and Ayo. It's awesome to be here, and I wish you and all your viewers a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems the message of Christmas is probably misplaced while we're celebrating in the midst of doom and gloom. But then the reality of Christmas is obvious in the lights and the celebrations and the festive mood that we find ourselves in. What do I mean by that? Christ, whom we celebrate today, is the light of the world. And when does the light shine brightest? It shines brightest when it is dark. So the darkness of the world at this time is the real reason why the message of Christmas is even more relevant. That in the midst of the darkness of this world, there is a ray of light. And that light is the hope that we aspire for and the hope that we celebrate. So yes, the Christmas message is even more relevant in December 2020.
One of the things a number of people are going to be wondering is, especially for those who have seen better Christmases. I saw, well, better Christmases, I mean, based on your analysis or analogy. I saw a picture on my WhatsApp status. Somebody just put up Idumota in its innocent days. So, but for those who have seen, Christmas, have enjoyed it much better and all of that, and they are now comparing, what would you be telling those people who are feeling Christmas is no longer the same, or rather Christmas celebration is no longer the same as before?
Yes, the celebration of Christmas in terms of the economic and the enjoyment part of it is no longer the same. There's this message going around recently that, how come Christmas was so much fun when we were kids? And the answer was, because it wasn't your money. so obviously, so you had the gifts, you had the chocolates, you had the chicken, you had the rice, and you didn't buy any of it. So now as an adult, you're providing, and it's a bit more tense. So yes, Christmas seems to be more gloomy because of the obvious economic downturn in the world. So people who aspire to celebrate not just the birth of Christ, which we celebrate, but even the end of the year. The actual fact that you've lived from January to December and that you are at the brink of another year. The year is turning very soon. So people want to celebrate that in terms of, what they eat, what they drink, what the gatherings they have. And that really is why it looks a bit more on a lower key, because they don't have the economic power to do so.
Okay, it's actually very, very interesting. But then another thing, you permit me to take you to your constituency. Okay. Another thing that usually happens at Christmas is that Christmas Eve service. I remember as a young man, as a small boy, not even young, as a small boy, we'll go to church. You have to have, Christmas performances. You have to have drama. Come on, you have to have drama. And you had to have, singing and all those activities, at church and all of that. It would seem that, things has kind of, slowed down a little in recent years.
Well, I won't say it's just slowed down. The reality is that for the church, the new year starts in sometime at the end of November to early December. So it's actually 4 weeks to Christmas. It's always 4 weeks to Christmas. So it's movable. It's called the Advent season, or the 4 weeks to Christmas countdown. So the church has been preparing for Christmas for the last 4 weeks. It used to be a time of penitence and sober reflection. But the church later in his doctrine changed it to a time of expectation. And that's why we say, the word Adventus means the advent, the coming. So we celebrate the coming of Christ in the past. We celebrate it now. And we also look forward to his coming in the future. So yes, in this period of Advent and expectation, we have the carols, we have the readings, and we have the preparation of our hearts, really. I think the third Sunday of Advent is usually the forerunner, which is the celebration of John the Baptist. For us, we're in the church calendar. We're in what we call the lectionary. 9 months ago in the church, we had the conception of Mary. That was about around the period of what you said, it was Mother's Day. That's what the Annunciation of Mary. So Mary was pregnant 9 months ago. Now she has the baby. And so for us, we're not in the Gregorian calendar of January to December. We're actually in the spiritual calendar. So for us, yes, Advent prepares us for Christ, and Advent has brought us to where we are today. And yes, we have a lot of carols, a lot of singing to remind ourselves of whose birth we celebrate. Because if you're celebrating his birth now, and you don't understand why he was really born, then there's no purpose. It's meaningless.
But the message is the same. Christmas, the essence of Christmas, the reason why we celebrate, it's the same year on year. age after age. But we've seen now that the times have changed. So where are we in trying to ensure that, because I mean, at the time that people couldn't physically converge, certain things will drop in terms of the lifestyle of people, how you keep up with perhaps the messages you've heard over the years, because, I mean, people encourage themselves when they gather and share certain things. Where are we in trying to ensure that, in spite of what has changed with the times, we keep up with the message? We'll ensure that the essence is not lost on us, probably as a church, and seeing that society looks up to the church to ensure that that Christ-likeness doesn't leave in spite of all that's happening.
Okay, that's a great question. If I hear you well, you're saying that how does the church in the age of modernity preserve the message of Christmas? Now, the church hasn't always celebrated Christmas. You know, Christ united time into one. So we celebrate an intervention, a division of time. So we have the BC, because when Christ was born about 5 BC, and we have the AD, before Christ came and after Christ came. So now we're talking of 2020 AD, so 20 years after Christ was born. So the celebration of Christmas is actually something that the church adopted along the line. Why? Remember that the printing press just came on less than 2 centuries ago. So the 6 centuries ago, sorry. So about the 15th century, the Gutenberg press came on, and people started having access to the Bible and to scriptures, to know the message. So how did the church preserve this in the earliest times? So that's why we had the lectionary, the spiritual year of the church, where we go to the life of Christ, from his birth to his death, to his resurrection, to Pentecost, and that was where we preserved it. If you go to any of the old churches, you see the murals and the stained glass, telling the stories to people who could not read Hebrew or Greek, languages in which the scriptures were written, so that they could understand this message. And then certain dates were picked so that people could commemorate those dates and ask the simple question, so what happened today? So we celebrate the birthday of a king. Who is the king? The king of the world. How is he the king of the world? So we have a Socratic questioning to the aim of getting to the real spirituality of what Christmas is. So Christmas is the intervention of God into humanity. In what St. Athanasius talks about, the fusion of two states of being in an hypostasis. So you have God and you have man. So Christ unites God and man into one union. It doesn't take godhood into manhood, it doesn't take manhood into God. It's one union. And that is what we call the incarnation. God becoming flesh. So that's what we celebrate at Christmas. It's a mystery that we can't understand. But if you look at, for instance, in 1987, there's a story of a baby, Jenna, in the US, who fell into an 8-inch pipe, and she was 22 feet under the ground. And she was a toddler. Now, nobody said, oh, she should come out of the pipe or send her instructions on how to climb out. What did they do? For 58 hours, miners and the government and the fire and the police were drilling down to get that girl out. And 58 hours later, they rescued her. So God looked at humanity, who fell in the Garden of Eden, and he decided that, look, I need to go down there and rescue them. So Christmas was that rescue operation, when God came among us, and he showed us who God is. And so all our misconceptions about God, on my way this morning, I Googled God. 2.63 billion hits on Google. That's 2.6 billion web pages on Google about God. Now, what is God? 2.7 billion hits on what is God. So people are searching. People don't understand why they are here, the origin, the meaning of their lives. And so Christmas breaks through the darkness and the misconception of who God is, what we understand about our lives, and most importantly, our future, our eternity. We all know that we are not going to be erased after we die. I mean, I look at people like the Oni Orisha in Ife, talk about the ancestors of 6,000 years, and I wonder, so people are sitting down in a shrine for 6,000 years waiting for you to come and venerate them. And but it just tells you that in every tradition, people know that after this life, we continue to exist. So in preparing for that existence, we need to have someone guide us. So Christ came as the way. to show us the way that we will live and enter into an eternity with God in a relationship. So this is an intervention that we have.
But you see, to tail Chamberlain's question, one of the major challenges people would have in sustaining, or rather retaining this lesson, is the realities that they have to face on a daily basis. Bringing those realities into this eternal reality that you are talking about now, it's a tough call. Before I get into that eternity, I need to face this reality. What's the bridge?
Beautiful. Nothing has changed. When Christ was born, of course, you said you've heard the stories, he was born not in a palace, he was born in a manger. In other words, there was no room for him. In fact, there was a census ordered by the government to go home and be counted. So it was on the day of the census that he was actually born into the world. And it was the hustle and the bustle. His mom, instead of Mary, instead of Joseph, and all the turmoil, where the Magi who came, he had to run into Egypt, Herod tried to kill him. 2 days from now, the church will be celebrating the massacre of the innocents. Children who were killed by Herod because of Christ. So the world has always been in turmoil. There will always be chaos. And it looks as if, it's so bad now. We talk about the good old days, but the days before weren't good. I mean, we didn't have phones. I remember I used to wake up, go to Nitel, and I would stay there for 2 days to call China, and I'll come back after 1 week to get a reply. I'll send a fax. So the old days weren't good. So really, it's just for us to put our minds to the essence, the spirituality of the season. Christ didn't come to form a religion. He came to form a relationship. And so really, it's for us to turn ourselves to that relationship. And all of us need it. We all need that change, that salvation.
Well, there you go. That's a very interesting, a fine place to leave with a food for thought for us all. And don't forget, while you're at it, remember the question we put out. Tell us in one word. We're trying out something. What does Christmas mean to you? We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
Christmas is here, and it's a season of joy, and the joy of the Lord obviously is with us. It's with us as we recount once again the coming of Christ into the world. His coming 2,000 years ago brought joy to the shepherds, brought joy to everyone who made contact with him, and his coming still brings joy to those who believe. And so we give thanks to God, all of humanity give thanks to God that Christ came into the world. But Christmas this year is happening in what some may call the COVID year. And therefore, we tend to get a bit concerned about the challenges that COVID has brought to us. But I wish to ask that each of us should look beyond the challenges of COVID, should look beyond the difficulties that we face at this point in time. Insecurity, lack of job opportunities, inadequacy of what we would like to provide for ourselves. Let us look beyond them and see the joy of Christ, because the joy of the Lord cannot be taken away by anything less than God himself. And God does not take the joy that he has given unto us. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a very prosperous 2021. May God bless you all.
Stay connected to the world with Channels TV Podcast and get all the trending stories. Simply log on to channelstv.com, click on podcast, select the program of your choice, and listen. Our podcast is available.
Jesus must be honored, must be honored, must be honored. Jesus must be honored in my life every day. Jesus must be honored, must be honored, must be honored. Jesus must be honored in my life every day. Said many years I've come and gone since this Jesus was crucified. but we still gather round unto him who died for us. There remained no more sacrifice. There remained no more rituals. What could be bigger than the death of the Son of God at Calvary? In the morning let us honor him. Every time let us honor Emmanuel. Glory, hallelujah, to the Lamb on the everybody say, Jesus must be honored, must be honored,
must be honored. Jesus must be honored
in my life
every day.
And when we come to December, this is one thing we always remember. Merry, merry, merry Christmas and a happy New Year. So when we come to December, this is one thing we always remember. Merry, merry, merry Christmas and a happy New Year. So happy birthday to Jesus. Happy birthday to you, Emmanuel. Merry, merry, merry Christmas and a happy New Year. 2,000 years and 20 have gone, and we still gather round the King of Kings. Merry, merry, merry Christmas and a happy New Year. From January to December, and we still celebrate Emmanuel. Merry, merry, merry Christmas and a happy New Year. Jesus must be honored, must be honored, must be honored. Jesus must be honored in my life
every day.
Sing with me. Jesus must be honored, must be honored, must be honored. Jesus must be honored
in my life every day.
Hey, say happy birthday to Jesus. Happy birthday to you, the King of Kings. Merry, merry, merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy birthday to Jesus. Happy birthday to you, Emmanuel. Merry, merry, merry Christmas and a happy New Year.
You know, come here,
Nice, nice, nice. Wow.
You know, it'll be interesting, Chibolin. It'll be interesting.
Relax.
It'll be interesting to see Jesus dance to his own music on his birthday. I mean,
wow.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, you want to sing to him, say "Happy Birthday, Jesus," and he brings his cake out, and then you're like, so.
Oh, no, this is lovely. I almost don't want to stop you. Just look, let's just keep going. This is very nice. It relaxes you. This is one of the only days in the year where we can have this actually.
Absolutely.
On this program. One of the only days.
Well, that doesn't mean that everything else in Nigeria has stopped working.
No,
you know, but
please
let everything be on pause for now.
Thank you.
You can see.
Wow. I just felt this is not a day to try my voice on that mic. And
You
see.
mean speechless?
Well, no. He's just we're rehearsing yesterday, and I just said that, so that's where he's picking up. But Buchi, good to see you. After all these years, you're still doing what you always have been doing. You never lost the flavor. How do you do it?
Thank you very much. How do I do it? This is who I am. Yes, the one who proclaims the gospel of Jesus Christ in reggae music, and nothing has changed. Except maybe for the few white breads. But every 3 years still I put out an album, a gospel reggae music album to celebrate Jesus Christ.
Well, there are a good number of reasons for people to do what they do. You definitely had options to reggae. Why reggae?
Why
for those who may have never heard it.
Why reggae? You know, as I think about this, I don't recall ever making a decision to choose reggae music. Like we always say in reggae music, I didn't choose reggae music. Reggae music chose me. So anyway, I grew up listening to this genre of music, and I didn't have to make a choice when I transited from the nightclub where I was playing to the church, when I got born again back in 92, yes, and it was time to sing. Naturally, I had to sing
what you knew.
Yeah, that which I had internalized, and that's the reggae sound.
You know, a good number of things have happened over the years.
No one saw 2020 coming this way. On December 31, 2019, into January 2020, everyone said, Happy New Year. For the entertainment industry, it definitely has been a very, very challenging one. How was it for you? And when you look back, of course, definitely people will still say there's a good reason to give God thanks. And of course, definitely that is the truth. But what was the experience for you? And what's the message?
In a general sense, many saw 2020. They just didn't know it would be 2020. But all the things happening now are just the Bible playing out like a movie script. Many knew that these days would come, the days of tribulation, the days of challenges, when the world would come in collision with the plan of the world, and the plan of God would seem to come into some kind of, yes? And that these days would come, turmoils, nations rising up against nations, troubles, the perplexity of nations, it is called, but just didn't know that it would be in 2020. So when we said Happy New Year on the 1st of January in 2020, we meant it to be a Happy New Year. And for many, it has remained a Happy New Year.
And that's how we'll say it again very soon.
All that has happened, it's remained a beautiful year. Come to think of it, there was, during the period of lockdown, so much productivity and so much profit for so many people. I tell you, it depends on where you live. Yes, it depends on where you are. Yes, I don't mean where you live physically, but how you see things. It's been beautiful for me. In the year, during the lockdown, I made an album. I recorded 11 songs, which I just recently put out in a project called 1159. And that's, of course, to say that time is running out on the human race. And that's what this is all about, really.
You know, just like everybody else, we all have our ups and downs. I mean, you have moments where certain thoughts might have come when you're down, when you feel, well, maybe things are not as I thought they were going to be. You face challenges. How do you go through all of that, knowing that you're out there, people look up to you for so many things? How do you get yourself through?
One step at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. One step at a time. Blessed are they that hear God. It is not a mystery to hear God. There are people, God still speaks to people each and every day. And as he guides you, you go. Those who hear God make no mistakes, or indeed maybe their mistakes are few, if any. So how do I go about these things happening? One step at a time, seeking his face, following his voice. God still speaks to men. He speaks to me. What I hear him say, I do.
So how are you proceeding from 1159?
1159, I have had to ask myself on my way to the studio today. I just said to myself, what if this turns out to be the last Christmas before Jesus comes? What if this turns out to be the last Christmas? This would not be the first bleak Christmas. As we heard from the Venerable, it was all bleakness even when Jesus was born. That's why he was kept in a manger and not in a mansion. That's why he slept with goats and sheep on the very first day of his life. And come to think of it, Christmas 1969, I was in the bush, and that was the year at the close of a civil war. I remember I spent that Christmas 1969 in the bush, and the latter part of it in an IDP camp
internally displaced persons, because the war had just come to an end. This would not be the first time that Christmas is coming in the midst of bleakness. Yes, a certain songwriter said, in the bleak mid-winter, frosty wind made mourn, in one of the Christmas carols. But it is not what happens around that determines our mood. It is our knowledge of the truth of what is going on. That's what determines our mood. And so I'm still all gay and flighty. Yes, it's a beautiful Christmas.
Wait a minute. Forgive me. When you said 1959, I'm wondering. 1969.
Yes.
How old were you at that time?
In 1969, I was 5 years old.
Uh-oh. Yeah, what some people call ancient of this, but maybe not as old as your God. Okay, so this is where we are now, and a good number of people are having their pressures, irrespective. And you talked about following Jesus, listening to Jesus, and all of that. How do you influence people beyond telling them what to do and all of it? We really need to, translate to Abuja now, but before we do that, how do you tell people who are having a hard time that, look, things are going to get better when it looks exactly the opposite?
I tell people the truth always. It won't get better for everybody. It will get better for those who hear God and who listen. He's still speaking. If you follow him, you'll get out of this groove. If you don't, it may not get better.
Food for thought as well. Well, Butchie is still going to be here with us while, of course, we can't let that piece of music. That's just one part of it. So there will be more. In fact, there is more. So you just have to hold on for a bit. Well, we did reach out. There's so many messages coming through. So here are a few Christmas messages for you.
As a little boy, whenever I saw the Christmas tree being put up, I knew there was going to be a change in season. A change into a season of merriment. As I look at the Christmas tree today, the evergreen leaf on it reminds me of what the significance of the birth of Jesus is to us. Jesus was given to us so that we could have life and have it in abundance. Life in this life and also life in eternity. On the Christmas tree, you see the lights on it. Jesus is the light that God gave to mankind so that we will not live in darkness, so that we will not be bound in darkness. Around the Christmas tree, you often find also gifts. Jesus is the precious gift of God from himself to humanity. My friend, as we celebrate Christmas this day, I want you to make sure that this gift called Jesus Christ is yours. Own him, embrace him, receive him, make him yours. The light that he has brought, make sure it's the light that is leading you, giving you understanding, knowledge, and guiding you through your life. Also, please make sure that the life you live is the life he has come to give you. Let it be that in him you live, you move, and you have your being. From me, my family, and the KICC family in Nigeria, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas as the last thing, and that's why we are making merry here as much as we can and as best as we can. And of course, it's not something that we can do all on our own. I'm not a comedian, I'm not an actor, I'm not a singer. Well, we've listened to a musician, so how about we take you to an actor?
Yes, we will. But we did ask people to send us a message or two.
Oh, yeah. You take the first one. I'm excited about the second one.
What does Christmas mean to you? Well, Maury says, Christmas is all about love. So that's the operative word for Maury.
And
Christmas
this
means
one,
love.
Nomase Omuwadia says, for now, Christmas means stay safe.
Ishola Timothy says, Christmas to me means survive. This year, it means survive.
And Ajayi says, Christmas means reflections to me. It's a season for reflection.
Obidum says, Christmas means light. Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Well, what does Christmas mean to our guests right now in the studio with us? We have a veteran actor in the person of Zach Orji, as well as Sako, the comedian. And he's going to tell us the meaning of his names. But, gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Christmas means all of those things to me.
No, we're asking for one word.
Love.
Oh, nice.
For me, Christmas means giving. It means giving. I'll send it.
It's a wonderful time. One of the things that intrigues me is that entertainers. Wait a minute. Let me just put it to you straight away. Do entertainers have holidays?
Sorry, entertainers?
Yes, actors, musicians. Do you guys have holidays?
No, we don't.
Wow.
I just returned.
So you're essential service.
I just came back from Abuja yesterday.
Oh.
I've been filming for quite a while. I finished yesterday, went back to the hotel, packed my things, and started rushing to the airport.
Wow.
I had a 6:15 flight, which was rescheduled for 9 p.m. and rescheduled for 10:30 p.m. I got home around after midnight yesterday.
Okay.
No, day before yesterday.
Okay.
And just spent yesterday running errands for my wife at home. And
sounds like wisdom.
What can I say?
Well, that errand, you really don't have a choice. And it's not something anybody can or is willing to assist you with.
I wish you do. Sir, I'm your junior colleague, sir. I run around. As I was coming out, my wife has sent me, and she's watching. Babe, I'll deliver the message after. Yeah, she has a way of, especially when she wants me to come back on time. The food is, there's something she can buy by herself, but she just sends me, we don't have egg in the house. And I don't eat egg, but, as a breadwinner, sometimes I don't even have bread to but
I have to win the egg.
I just have to it's well. So I basically, there's basically no holiday. Sometimes when we travel out of the country to rest, you just realize that some people are even organizing something on your behalf.
Yeah,
and they just say, we knew you were coming. And then they ask you to feature in. And so basically, when I have the opportunity to travel, especially when I land, I want to rest for a while. I want to rest, especially outside Lagos. I want to take my time to rest. I just want to put my phone on flight mode and rest. So, kind of.
That rest ambit, as a veteran,
yes,
you talk about it also, Mr. They trust the rest element. It really is something that will help anyone, to get better, refresh, and all of that. How easy is it to get the time for that rest?
Well, you have to create the time, because the truth is, when you say everyone wants your attention, you want to do everything, when the person goes, there's a replacement. So when you have the opportunity to rest and for me, it's so funny that, I go to a church that the theme of this year was rest. So we rested a lot. When the team came, my pastor, Reverend Samadeyemi, declared a year of rest. I didn't understand what rest was until this year, when we had the 6 months. I was almost caught up in the UK. I went for a tour, and then just 2 days before the border closed, I came back, and my wife had to put me in a BQ to rest.
How did that feel?
It wasn't okay. You saw it wasn't funny at all. I had an event in Scotland, in Glasgow, and from the UK, and I basically, when I came back, my wife told me when I was leaving London, and said, we will quarantine you. You will be in the BQ. The children will know you are back, because once they know you are back, they will come for you. So I was in the BQ. I came back early morning, and I went straight to she had prepared. She had done, there was no mosquito net. She had put everything. She put my bed, and then I was there first day, and I began to do like a flashback. I took a taxi, I took a train, I took a plane, and I was having conversation with the guy. I didn't have face masks. Maybe, at that time, I literally thought I had the COVID-19, because, that's another thing, another mental picture that get people feeling, that gets them so scared. I was there for 4 days. that time I understood rest. I began to listen to a lot of messages. I listened to Bishop Oyedepo. I listened different things, and different imagination started coming. Until the 5th day, I just told my wife, babe, I'm fine. There was nothing. I took garlic. I put my head inside hot water. I went through a lot of, it was trauma for me, because my wife would get into the room and she'll sit at the edge and say, how are you feeling today? I said, I'm fine. I said, come close. She said, no, don't worry, just stay there. And then she'll be talking to me. My children will say, Daddy, when are you coming? I said, I will soon be home, because literally my children are young, so they can't understand that their father is in a BQ. It's actually the maid room. So I became the maid of honor.
No wonder you run the errands.
I run the errands.
But Mr. Oji, for you, how did you adjust? I mean, in light of your job as well, you had to do a lot of shooting, all of this notwithstanding.
Like he said, you have to create the time. If you don't create the time, they will submerge you with work. For example, I had an event to attend in Abuja today. Oh. The only thing that stopped the event was that the state government said that event should not hold because of the new wave of COVID. So they've shifted it to another time. So I had to come back home and catch some rest. Actually, I'm alone at home at the moment. My family is cooling off somewhere, but I just felt like staying at home on my own and do a lot of reflection, just sit in the house, laze about. My wife has prepared everything. Whatever I need, I'll just go and pick from the refrigerator. Because I know that once January comes, I'm off again. So let me feel the energy of the home seep inside of me now that I'm here for next 1 week. And I'll just be staying at home, not going anywhere, listening to music, watching television, reflecting, making phone calls and all of that.
Except that we had to drag you out again.
Yeah.
But this year has been very, very interesting. Pandemic and all of that. So how are you as an entertainer, as an actor, able to adjust? And what are those other stories you heard of some of your colleagues who may have been able to cope or not been able to cope, all year long?
Well, you have to take some personal steps to ensure that you enhance your own health, your well-being, because COVID-19 is a scare. Is a scare. When you hear that people die of COVID-19, it really scares you. And when even when it feels very uncomfortable to wear these masks, you know you have to wear them for your own good. I take a lot of supplements now. I mean, I make sure now that I eat breakfast. Every day before I go anywhere, I make sure I eat breakfast, because as I'm eating the breakfast, I'm taking about 6 different supplements: vitamin D3, fish oil, vitamin C, this and that, to really strengthen my immunity. I stay a lot in the sun. I do a lot of inhalation, just like you said, and I keep to myself. When I'm on location, for example, it is from the hotel straight to the location, take all the necessary precautions. As soon as we are done, I go back to my hotel room. I stay in my hotel till the next day again when I'm going to location. I keep away from every kind of social activities and things like that. It's an adjustment we all have to make because we want to stay alive. Yeah. The irony is that we want to see God, but we don't want to die.
Nice point, like. Well, we'll get more from them in just a moment. Do stay with us.
We have Zach Oji and Sako, the comedian. Wait a minute. The name is Sako.
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 Yes.
Not Sako.
No, anyone. It could be the
it's
maybe
C-O.
C-A-C-O. S-A-C-O. Yes, Sako.
And first of all, what's the real name?
Okay, my name... I forgive you, sir. Okay, so my first name is Sunday Ayodele Chukamadu Okundalai. It's actually...
That's Sako.
Sako, that's Sunday Ayodele Chukamadu Okundalai.
Chukamadu.
So, yes, so I'm an half caste. I'm partly Ondo, partly Delta.
Which half of the cast?
Yeah, I'm mixed race, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
which race are you mixed?
Well, heavily race. Okay, so my dad is from Ondo State. My mother is from...
50-50.
He's 50-50. My mom is from Delta State, Ibuzo. Okay. So I speak Yoruba very well, I speak Igbo very well, and I speak in tongues also. But I don't interpret tongues anyway.
Why? Who do you want to interpret?
It's a gift of. It's a different gift. So I speak and then someone interprets.
So how do you know when somebody is interpreting the?
Well, it tells me what basically I speak. It's an unknown tongue. So that's why I got the name Sako.
What if they give you a non-interpretation?
Well, it's left to them. But my job is just to do, speak,
Somebody else will.
Yeah.
Do you employ people to interpret?
I don't. I see results from the ones that I employ. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I got the name Sako, and evolved when I got to University of Ilorin. Evolved to my first boss, MC Mark, called my name Senior Advocate of Comedy. He was going to introduce me on stage, and that's where I started professionally, 1st of October 2005. And then it just evolved from Sako. It was just simply Sako. Because when I found out I wanted to do comedy, I wrote down, I wanted to find out names, or I wanted a name that people can call and remember. And I was just inspired to write down all my names. And then it came out as Sako, and he called it Senior Advocate of Comedy. And I realized that a lot of feedback came from the Senior Advocate of Comedy. I wanted to study law, but since they didn't give me law, I couldn't become a Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I became a Senior Advocate of Comedy. And so I used that name for a long time before
Was there any indication you were going to do this while you were in school?
Yes, there was an indication. In SS2, I began to have this. I used to be a member of the choir, and so during rehearsals, I make them laugh. I make them, and then I started anchoring concerts, and then there were signs. I acted for my school. We became with an organization called Action Health Incorporated, where my school became. I was a lead actor and in Unilag, and then we came out very first in the old school in Lagos, and there was a flair for it. And then I had a friend called Sonny Goodingbe, and that was how influenced me, and it became something that I realized that I enjoyed doing.
Well, since Zakoji sat down, he's been acting.
Yes.
he's been acting. We can see that he's acting.
Yes.
And I've not been laughing much. So.
No, it's Christmas, and for me, when Sabuchi was talking about his experiences for Christmas, I am excited for Christmas because I remember traveling to the US for the first. Not everyone has the privilege that I had. I had privilege of going to the US for the first time when I was 7. Christmas, I remember Christmas Day. My parents, we were in Washington D.C. I mean, in my dreams, once I sleep, I don't know what that happens to you. Once you sleep, you see yourself in different countries, and then sometimes you wake up very tired.
I hope that's not how you went to Scotland.
No, that's how I went to Scotland. It was real. My children are privileged nowadays. Everything is their size. They enjoy the things. I didn't have such privileges where my parents would buy me things in advance. I studied accounting and data processing, and I understood that there was a going concern concept for our parents. They buy you native. Now you wear native, looks smart on you, but those times you wear native, you look like a native doctor, because it was very big. They call it Wabambe. You have to meet it. You can't buy your size. You have to grow into it, and it's a going concern concept that once you wear it, your mother gives you a time that at least for another 5 years you wear this stuff, and then bam, your brother wears it again.
Likewise,
it's a going concern.
shoes.
Yes, likewise shoes. They shuffle the things, and then you grow up,
What do they pack in the shoes?
It's either newspaper or the packing pad. They just pad it, and then you must walk gently because the shoe is usually heavy. They think you have issues with your leg. Is it anything that makes you? We couldn't do Bessie. Once you do Bessie, that's all. That's all. You can't find the shoe. That's why Bessie wasn't. That's all. You can't find the shoe again. And it was a good experience going for me as in a polygamous family. I'm the firstborn, like I shared this morning.
I'm going to come back to that soon. But we'll have our correspondent Terry Kumi. He's in Abuja, and then we're checking out churches. Well, he is in one of those areas. Let's see how they're going on, that protocol, the safety protocol. It's a church. Terry, what's happening where you are?
Well, service has just begun here at the Cathedral Church of the Advent in Abuja, and it's an interesting one because you can clearly see, from what we see, not many parishioners are here today, possibly because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so the physical distancing thing has been observed and not many people are allowed to be at church at this time. But interestingly as well, parishioners are trying to get used to the new protocol for attending church. So Christmas today in the Federal Capital Territory is quite different from what many people are used to. This is the first time that we will be celebrating Christmas in a pandemic. Just behind me, there's a disinfecting tunnel that's been created there for parishioners to go through. It's a different route from where they would normally take to access church. There's an opportunity for them to wash their hands as well and then use the sanitizer where necessary. But the mood in Abuja is quite different. Doesn't look like a celebration anyway. I think it's just in line with the COVID-19 protocol and the realities that we currently face. Interesting times, I must tell you, and nobody wants to be us right now having to work on Christmas Day.
There you go. We'll keep tabs on that and see. So, well, clearly, everyone, you have to just comply and do what you have to do to stay safe. And not just for yourself, for others around you as well.
It's actually a statement of love when you take precautions, and people need to recognize that. So if you refuse to go to a particular place that you usually go at the end of the year, this year, let them know it's for love. You could go ahead and send whatever it is that you wanted to send to them via courier or whatever. Seeing you, use the virtual means. Stay safe and help others to stay safe as well.
Yeah, but if you owe somebody money, you can go and tell them you can't go there. Sacco Forest, they'll hold you. They know you have the money. They say you have to pay.
It's like Zakoji is also agreeing about the shoe padding. And did it happen in your generation as well?
Me. Yeah.
Oh,
it happened to me. A lot.
Tell me, both of you, well, he probably didn't know the first generation iPad. You would know that one. We call it slates.
Slate. I knew about it. I met it.
So we were there before they knew it. It's just the name that he changed.
Oh, you knew it as well.
I knew it. I went to Ikoshi primary school. I went to a public school. Well, in a private environment anyway, so it was public private.
But you might be amazed that the ideas for these things came from things like that.
Yes.
I'd be amazed.
It did.
Because if you look at what the slate represented for people in our time, and what it represents now, there's a kind of relationship.
Yeah, because then it was like a status symbol. You had the slate.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe this.
Can't believe I'm talking about slates.
That's the wrong But Mr. Ochi, did you ever think you were going to be acting when you were in school?
I dreamt about it. Well, not your kind of dream. I started going to the cinemas at the age of 12, 13.
Okay.
My father worked with G.B. Oliphant so many years ago. So he was going from one francophone country to another. And I was born in Gabon, in Libreville.
Wow.
I started going to the cinemas when we were in Cameroon, watching Lee Van Cleef, John Wayne, those Hollywood greats at the time, the Sean Connery, who just passed away not long ago. I was, sneaking out of the house to go to the cinemas. Whenever I came back, I would go and stand in front of a mirror and try to do what I saw them do in the cinemas, and the kind of voice, inflections and stuff like that. And I started unconsciously. I was grooming myself without knowing it. I did likewise for Chinese films. I did likewise for Indian films, learning how to cry in front of a mirror. And eventually, when I grew up and the opportunity came, it's like I walked into it naturally. But before then, I was in the Dramatic Society in my secondary school. I was the speaker for Senior Debating Society. I wrote short plays. I actually wrote a play that won my school's second position in Anambra State. Anambra State then was Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi State put together.
Yes.
And what year was that?
Sorry, what year? 1978.
Yeah.
Nigeria
had 12 states at the time.
That's right. 1978. So that competition that I won for my school got me a pass to be one of the 60 students selected by the French embassy to go on a holiday trip outside the country for 3 weeks. And I was the leader of that trip.
Wow.
So over the years, I have learned I speak French, I write. I do movies in French. My last movie in French was in Conakry, which I directed. I have worked with Tunde Kelani in Benin Republic, did films in French. I've also directed a movie in French in Gabon, Libreville. And
in Nigerian films?
And in Cameroon. No, their own films. They invited me to come and direct for them.
Wouldn't it be a good idea to have Nigerian film in French? Or has it been done already?
Recently, I found out some of our, like when I went to Gabon, I took with me Ufoma Ejenobo. She speaks French sparingly. Another actress that speaks French is Omoni Oboli, Meg Otanwa, Emmanuela Yalogu. I've just found out a number of us who speak French, and we are planning to do some movies in French here, here in Nigeria.
I saw one also, Citation by Kole Afolayan. It had, it's also bilingual, had English and French. The film is bilingual as well, so yeah. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
No, actually what they do now, a lot of our films are being voiced over in French. So you could see him speaking French in a movie, but he is not the one. It's what they call doublage in French. Voiceover.
Yeah, voiceover. Wow.
So they do voiceovers of a lot of our films. You know, Canal France and all of them. But what we want to start doing now is to start doing movies in French here.
Is this part of what the plan is for the entertainment industry, especially your segment of the entertainment industry next year, among other things?
No, it's a decision myself I have taken.
Okay.
And unconsciously, we've been doing it for a while. Like about 2 years ago, Omoni Oboli invited me to come and do a movie in Kano. And myself and herself, we played a Francophone couple in the movie. And we spoke French, you know, in all our scenes that we did together.
So if you were to project as a veteran in the industry, knowing what has been and what is, what are the things you see for the entertainment industry globally, but especially your own segments in Nigeria? What do you see?
What I would like to see in Nigeria is government coming to terms with the fact that they must engage Nollywood. Because we always look up to Hollywood in a lot of things that we do. And yet there are a lot of things they've been doing so many years ago that we don't do.
But you know the government recognizes...
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
In the Second World War took place between 1939 and 1945. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the US government set up what they call Office of War Information in 1942. The director of that agency, his name was Elmer Davis. He made a statement. He said, the easiest way to inject propaganda into the minds of most people is through the medium of an entertainment picture when they do not know that they are being propagandized. So that Office of War Information, they used posters, they used photographs, they used newspapers, they used movies to change the mindset of people about the movie. About the war, what was going on in the war. They were now the connection between the civilian population and the war front. So they were the ones giving the civilian population information about what was going on in the war, using films, using a whole lot of things, which we've not started doing here. There are a lot of things that government can use the movie industry to do to whitewash, if you like, call it whitewash itself, or to reorient people, making Nigeria look different, not only at home, but also internationally. This is the aspect that I would love to see the government engaging the industry to do. And we've been waiting for them to do that.
Well, the
government of the United States actually commissions Hollywood to do certain films so that they will inject certain propaganda into the minds of people, not only in America, but internationally. It's only in the movies that we see America being invincible in war. But in reality, it is not the same thing. So a whole lot of things. I'd like to see the government engage the industry in throwing light on the tourist destinations we have in Nigeria. For example, we have the Gamshaka Gumi Park in Adamawa State, which is the biggest park in Nigeria. There are about at least 8 of them. That one you see lions, you see chimpanzees, you see elephants.
So you expect
see
that
the
government will be able
rarest
to,
species of...
Government will be able to use movies to do that?
Yes, they can use movies. Stories can be created around these things.
I'm wondering, Sako, how we'll be able to use that industry or even your industry to fight corruption.
For Sako's own, for instance,
oh, yes.
I'm just wondering, if he's cracking a joke now, am I going to be thinking, is this propaganda now? How do I do? How do I...
So? Well, I think it's possible. Like you rightly said, this is time where we need to sit down and have conversation. Which I know that the government had conversations with entertainers, but it's basically sort of for their own interest. But this time, you put it out and say, this is our idea. This is what we need you to sell. Some actors have even come to say that this is what we did. We supported this person before, but because we see that it's not going the way, what he promised, basically I'm out of it. I kind of agree. And then you asked a question earlier on, what should actors? This is not a time where you need to compete. One of the things I learned this year is the best form of competition is collaboration.
Yeah.
The best form of competition is collaboration. You need to collaborate with people, and collaboration will go a long way. What would have taken you 2 years to accomplish, with the wealth of experience of other people.
Let me give you an example. Okay. We have been able to sell Nigerian architecture through our movies. I traveled to Gambia, I traveled to different African countries, and they want a Nigerian architect to design some of those houses they see in our movies.
Yes, even the music.
Yes, even the music.
They take a lot of producers here outside to just, especially African countries.
How about the jokes?
Yes,
even the jokes.
Even the jokes. If you go on YouTube,
the jokes, the music. Go to Liberia now. Go to Sierra Leone. You see them cracking Nigerian jokes.
Doing comparisons. Because comparison is what works for Africans. You compare what you have here. Compare my first trip to the UK, I realized that the transport system is quite different from ours. There are 4 alternative routes going anywhere. You Google TFL journey plan and it gives you more than 4 alternatives. You're excited that you miss away in London. Oh. But in Nigeria, you only have 2 alternatives. You turn mainland and the crow. Once it's blocked, there's nothing you can do about it. You're stuck. It's either you park your car and take a bike. You miss away in London, explain, I'm going to Woolly Shasna. The way they talk to you is, you're going to Woolly Shasna? In there. You'll be happy. You say, yeah, you need to connect to the Jubilee line or the DLR. You'll be happy. See the bus stop. Well, you come here.
We're getting there as well.
You just ask me from Maryland, I'm going to Civic Center. The person has Civic. Civic Center. I've had that name before. Civic. You will now start telling you the one in 1976. I did civics education. What concern me? But the one that you will miss is when you go to Oyo, Ibadan. You'll miss your way in Oyo. The Lord is your strength. Because they panic for, okay, not everyone. Some of them panic for a living. Just, I missed my turn. I was supposed to go to Ring Road Challenge and I went straight to Iwo Road. And I had this gentleman, Emma Binosamon, Losi Jogo. The guy shouted, yeah! I said, Kilode, he said, me, Omobe, I don't know the place. I said, why you should say it's paining me, you have lost. I said, you will lose, sir. He won't let me. So I asked this last person, I said, Jogo. Say, Jogo, Jogo. He just started calling. You know they can call. Fatai, Boni Jogo. Where you did? So he told me to park. So he parked me there. He started asking me a question. Ibole Timbo, where are you coming from? I said Lagos. So Lagos is far. So he told me, Emanis. When your Obama started saying Emanis, you have to be patient. Just know that you have to be patient. He told me, look up. Then he raised his hand. He said, brother. I said, where are we going? Say, my Lord. Every Opoko, you will see one pillar. Don't pass there. I said, God, no. I said, bro, so I had to take him there. I gave him transfer fare to come back. It's exciting when you miss away. Because even Google Map now, one day I frustrated.
It has happened to me a number of times.
I frustrated.
I've had to ask somebody, please get into the car, take me there.
Yes, I frustrated.
That's what they want.
Yes, that's what they want. So you tip them.
Because they know you give them.
Yeah, and then when I take them, I start conversing with them so they don't just kidnap. I say, Sherry, this life, there's nobody that cannot lose. He say, Momo. So I'll just drop it. I frustrated. Google Map took me one day, took me somewhere else. So the next time I said, Google, I will deal with you. So I typed an address that I wasn't going. I knew where I was going. I started going. I said, you have missed
sometimes that
you. I said, you will not. You don't know anything. He said, you need to turn. I said, no. All of a sudden, you just spoke your back. You know, Shein gone. Kini gone. I said, so you can speak your back. I can't keep myself.
Oh dear.
So I like the fact that, and Zach, this is for you.
I like the fact that you, just as you said, two languages come into Nollywood and all now. But there is something that is very strong in a country like India. They literally inundate the world with their language and culture in the movies. Same with the Chinese, same with the Koreans. How well are we doing in that department?
We are doing it in our own way, in a different way. The typical Yoruba filmmaker does films in Yoruba. And they still go a lot of places, even though the subtitles sometimes they are something else.
That's the only...
Please, let's forget the subtitles. At least they are
subtitles will make you miss your way.
You want to act like your mother. That was your mother. That was your own mother. And the mother is still alive. I don't like
that's an effort. Likewise, the typical northern filmmaker does his movies in Hausa language. The typical Igbo filmmaker does his films in Igbo. Do you understand? And then we do films in English, which is necessary. Because how did we start? All of us, we started with films in our native languages. The first film I did was in my native language, was in Igbo. But it was subtitled. As far back as 28 years ago, it was subtitled. Then the Igbo filmmakers saw a bigger profit in making films in English. So they reasoned that if we do this film in English, we will be able to appeal to more people and that will make more money. That's how we started doing films in English. We started doing films in English, and then they realized that they were making more money. They just switched over to making films in English, but I don't know how to put it now. Igbo films in English. Yes. That's the way I'll put it, because you still see all of the native mannerisms, everything they are very. It's just that we speak in English, and then the English some of us speak, you cannot even understand. You need to subtitle for people to understand what they're saying.
Give us an example of that kind of English that you've seen. Little intelligible.
When he annoyed me and I majored him.
How do you transcribe?
So when you hear that in a movie and you are not a Nigerian, in fact you are not an Igbo person, how can you understand?
No. Let's move on with this program. It's all right. What?
Nah, Kailie, take three. The typical person from another country will not understand. So you need to subtitle these things, or you need to voice them over so that other people will understand. But one thing is very certain, we have used it to colonize the rest of the world.
Yes. I asked because of that colonization that you talked about, because when people watch Indian films, some people actually learned basic, foreign languages through those movies.
Yeah, even some of our own Nigerians living in the diaspora, it's through our movies that they learn certain words.
But we need to improve on that subtitling.
Yes, we need to.
What do we need
You see the typical Nigerian now say Namaste is from Indian movies that they learned all of that.
Yes.
Okay, so do we also begin to translate comedy?
It's already been translated. It's already been. The movies, and then YouTube has made it very easy. There's a level where you get monetized, and then if you don't translate it, they do the translation for you.
Let me say one thing. There is an aspect of tourism that we are not seeing. Again, government needs to engage the industry. What is tourism? Tourism is leaving your place of abode to go to another place. To go and spend money. You go to another place for recreation, for leisure, for pleasure, and then while you go there, you engage in the provision of economic activities, goods and services. You understand? And while you're doing that, you spend money. But why would you want to go to Canada? Probably to see Niagara Falls. Because a trip to Canada without going to Niagara Falls is not complete. Yet we have
many sites.
We have about 10 amazing falls in Nigeria here.
Including a hanging lake.
Good. I have not seen any government that has added value. Because if you go to Niagara Falls, I went to Niagara Falls when I went to Canada, you will see that value has been added around it. There are 5-star hotels there. There are entertainment centers.
I think the point is taken now, and I want to sincerely, because I feel like you're already beginning to yab me as a Nigerian. But thank you very much for being here this morning. Zach Oji is a veteran actor, and want to thank you very much for your thoughts and your perspectives to the issues this morning, especially that part about engaging government. And Sako,
the full name from
what? Huh?
I thought you were going to call the full meaning.
I'm trying to look for it. I don't know what to call it, whether it's Sako the comedian or just Sako the guy.
If you add DIA, you are the Ghanaian singer.
Sako D.
And then if you add BI, that's Sako B.
Oh, Sako B, yes, I know.
So, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for it.
My pleasure.
Really
so we're back in a moment. Do stay with us.
Welcome back. It's Sunrise Daily, and it is our Christmas edition. We did ask you to describe in one word, if you can, what does Christmas mean to you? Well, this year, you can always go ahead. Well, that is the question right there. But in addition to that, it's almost the same thing. It doesn't cost much. So you might as well just go ahead and send us a picture or two of what you're doing, where you are, how are you enjoying today. I think that's the operative word. But don't forget, you also have to take into cognizance the COVID protocol. It is important.
If traffic has caught you, if Christmas Day has caught you in traffic, tweet it. Why are you looking at me like that?
Tweet, pick, and okay. Well, you can. I mean, it depends. Wherever you are, it depends on what you're doing. So they might be having fun along the way or something.
And if that argument is still going on about which jollof rice is better, tweet it.
How do you read that in the pic? Okay, I don't know. Maybe he's thinking something I'm not.
Whatever it is you're doing, just go ahead and take a picture and tweet it to us. I'll mention at Sunrise Daily now.
Okay, well, yes, it's Christmas, so we're having fun here. So today we have, ladies and gentlemen, joining us next. We've got Niniola Akpata, better known as Niniola. She's a singer and a songwriter. Good morning. Merry Christmas to you.
Good morning, Merry Christmas.
Thank you for coming on today.
A pleasure.
All right, Arole, good to see you again.
Please, Woli.
Exactly. I don't want to respond. I'm not your mate spiritually.
Well, you can't send the picture about it now.
That's what I'm saying. Pronounce it for me. Please, it's Christmas.
We have
Woli. Let him say you correct it. Say it from your tongue.
Which tongue? The speaking in tongues part.
Exactly.
Because if I speak in tongues about it, you may not understand. Well, we also have, as you can see, you're sitting beside the veteran actor, Bimbo Manda. Good to see you today.
A very good morning to you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yes.
You crossed, by the way, from broadcasting to acting.
Yes, it happens in life. We
stray into some... you needed his permission.
That's how jealous each one of these things can be.
I'll just pretend like you didn't say anything. So, how's the transition been over how many years now?
It's been a while. I've been in acting for about 35 years.
Ooh. Person with the bond that time, don't bond.
Even Woli didn't see that coming.
No, don't say so. I'm not. I know my age. Don't go there.
So what's your age?
Leave that to me. It's my personal.
No, he meant your spiritual age.
Exactly. I'm not. I know him. These are one of my sons. These are my sons. Spiritually, but don't let's go
there. Was he one of those people that came to pray?
I told him switch. Oh boy, I told him switch to me. This is him here.
Did you know you were the one that told you?
It's okay.
The way you are sitting gently, somebody will think maybe you're already receiving some visions.
You see, my love for Channels TV is not here. I was on the mountain. 7 days, Monshi Lowo. I received the call and I'm here because my children are here. You are my children.
Did you tell her what song you sing to?
Who wrote Maradona? Who gave... You see, there are some things... Because national TV, I don't know, it's watching for security reasons. I've done a lot in this nation.
So, give me money.
Maradona.
That's what I want.
Even me, I'm looking for money.
So you cannot give what you don't have.
Oh dear. How's it been?
I'll say I'm very thankful and grateful to God. I'm an Abuja December child. My birthday was on Tuesday, and so shout out to all December children.
Nice.
And 2020 has been very challenging. And also has been a blessing in disguise for some people like myself as well. Because when there's life, they say there's hope.
Yeah.
During the pandemic and the lockdown, everybody had to be at home. We had to make do with whatever it is that we had at home for entertainment. Social media, helped a lot of us get through it. It gave me time to even finish up my album, Colors and Sounds, that dropped this year. And so I miss the stage so much as an entertainer.
But you're on stage right now. He's looking very excited about that prospect. Come on, bro. So, while we are still getting him ready and everybody else, what's 2021, Prophet?
Yes, sir. Let me tell you, I thought if you had not asked me, and this will be the first place I'm going to say it, channel, because I've come from the mountain, I've seen some things, and it's going to tally. I said it before. This one, I saw it. 2021 is a good year.
Amen.
Amen to that.
No, for real.
Amen.
Relaxed year. A year where we need to love one another more.
Yes.
Irrespective of religion and tribe. Abuja, no, Yoruba, no, Igbo, no. Love. You get love. Let there be collaboration. It's a year of collaboration. You saw it.
Not from the Uber.
I love that. Yes, it's a good year. Trust me, it's a good year.
Amen to that.
I'm telling you.
Amen.
It is.
How about me? More money for me?
You see, what I saw for...
If you cannot see money...
No. Mimi, see me.
No.
You want Abuja to come with you to the mountain?
No, my children, there are a lot of people, governors, Duro, I'm not knowing. They
are not strong.
No, I will text you to you. There are prophets, there are level of prophecy. There are some you see, there are some you text.
Okay. Well, I think we need to begin to get some music in the background right now so that we can begin to get this, going on. I want to believe that we're going to have a handheld mic for
a handshake
for Niniola as well.
Oh, I'm singing?
Oh, yes.
You could do something with Buchi, so you never can tell.
But Buchi is actually excited
reggae
about
and wow, how's that gonna work? Well, she's a singer.
I really
singers.
I'm not a singer, so
they'll do their thing.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Are you willing my left hand microphone and I'm right? Declaring the gospel of the Almighty.
Don't do him on the other side.
Good news where you cannot read. It is well. It is well in the name of Jesus. It is well with my soul today. Now make I hear you sing it. It is well. It is well. It is well in the name of Jesus. It is well. Oh man, with my soul today. Now make I hear you sing it. It is well. It is well. It is well in the name of Jesus. It is well. Oh man, with my soul today. By the pool of water, Bethesda, my friend, lay a certain man in Jerusalem, wanting to be healed, having no one to take him into the pool at the stirring of the water. Oh, oh, oh. Jesus said to the sick man, rise up, take up your bed and go your way. It is well with your soul. It is well. It is well. It is well in the name of Jesus. It is well. It's Christmas time. All we do for you is a rap-a-pam-pam. The style I'll play for you is a rap-a-pam-pam. Yes, sister, the music we do today is a rap-a-pam-pam. Everybody, I'll do this one. I'll do it in a rap-a-pam-pam. Rap-a-pam-pam, rap-a-pam-pam. Now in a style and pattern. The gospel is not for Sunday morning alone. Each and every day that the Lord has made, we are going to give thanks and praise to the Lord Almighty. say Father, Papa never tire. Oh, let my blessing him, Lord, and I divine beginning. I'm plenty dollar. Hey, Papa never tire, make me give him the praise. Mama, hey, Mama, oh, na, oh, nyewani, Anamasia, Anamasia, oh, Mama, Jesus, oh, yeah, whether COVID or no COVID, Mama, oh, Mama, hallelujah, Mama, do a dance for him today. Oh, Mama, hallelujah, Mama, Jesus, oh, yeah, baby. I have a question, give me the answer. I have a question, give me the answer. I have a question, please give me the answer. Tell me the one who make you fat and nice. Jesus. Tell me the one who make you fresh and young. Jesus. Tell me the one who make you prosperous. Jesus. Tell me the one who make you victorious. Jesus. Tell me the one who make you powerful. Jesus. Ready, we ready, and God me God. Come on, everybody, make me give him the praise. Mama, yeah, Mama, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Oh, email, Anamasia, Mama, yeah, Mama, go on, man, Mama, Jesus, oh, yeah, baby. Don't be shy now, Mama, don't be shy now, Mama, she's even begging, Mama, give it to Anna, email, yeah, Mama, oh, na, hallelujah, Mama, Jesus, oh, yeah, baby. One more time now, Mama, yeah, Mama, see the prophet, Mama, see the prophet, email, do what that's way, Mama, congratulations, prophet, well, yeah, Mama, Jesus, oh, yeah, baby. One more time now, Mama, oh, na, Mama, na, 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 Mama, oh, nyewani, email, hey, Mama, hey, Mama, hallelujah, Mama, Jesus, oh, yeah, baby. I have a question, give me the answer. I have a question, give me the answer. I have a question, give me the answer. Tell me the one who make you fat and nice. Jesus, see them. Tell me the one who make you beautiful. Jesus, see them, see them. Tell me the one who make you victorious. Jesus, tell me the one who make you powerful. Jesus, tell me the one who make you beautiful. Jesus, ready, we ready, and I can make God. Come on, everybody, make me give him the praise. Mama, hallelujah, Mama, oh, Christmas is about Jesus. We lift your name higher. 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 Jesus, we lift your name higher. Jesus, we lift your name higher. We lift your name higher. We lift your name higher. When I was a youth at the age of 5, my main ambition was to learn how to drive. Now we come along, I understand. There is a reason for each and everything, but every season is for praising God. Praising in the morning, we're praising every time. Alongside my brothers in the big tunes band. Our whole ambition is to live up His way. Oh, higher. We lift your name higher. We lift your name higher. We lift your name higher. Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Very, very low.
It's been. Well, so there you go. What a day it's been. So, in spite of all, you still can find a way to just let yourself go.
Absolutely.
While still observing the protocols,
Absolutely.
I might add. So, we cannot but thank all of you, ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for helping make not just our day, but the day of several other millions of people who are watching. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. So, celebrate responsibly. I think there is no better way to summarize that. Have a wonderful Christmas and God bless you all.
And see the vision responsibly.
Exactly. I told you. Shout the shiki, shout the fun. Yes.
It's been.
Well, so there you go. What a day it's been. So, in spite of all, you still can find a way to just let yourself go.
Absolutely.
While still observing the protocols,
Absolutely.
I might add. So, we cannot but thank all of you, ladies, gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for helping make not just our day, but the day of several other millions of people who are watching. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. So, celebrate responsibly. I think there is no better way to summarize that. Have a wonderful Christmas and God bless you all.
And see the vision responsibly.
Exactly. I told you. Shout the shiki, shout the fun. Yes.